to day 3 of Quantum Soul Guidance Summit. I'm Julia Balaz, your host, facilitating this wonderful collaborative coming together of our Galactic Astrology Soul Reading Practitioners community. The topics that are waiting ahead of you today are accessing your astrology chart through the quantum field. This will be presented by Tammy Roth. The magic of the stars of the Pegasus can offer to us while swimming the cosmic waters. This will be presented by Serene Palarea. Gift from the Galactic, Healing with Sirius. This will be presented by Sabrina Savoy. Disclosure and Discernment, Antarian Wisdom and Strategies to Navigate the Information Age will be presented by Kelly Brett. 2025 in relation to the alignments of Hercules, the Path of Initiation, presented by Joyce van Nispen. And the last topic of the day will be Cosmic Contemplation, Aligning Past Life Wisdom with Human Design Insights. And this will be presented by Cassandra DeAnne. So you have lots to look forward to. Remember my tips I shared with you on the first and the second day. Get your notepads ready and remember to write down the names of the speaker and the topic that speaks to you the most. Whatever you were inspired by, touched by, nourished by, write it down and set the intention to follow up after the summit, connect with the speaker, book a one-on-one session with them if you would like to dive deep into your own alignments, because there is something inside that person that is in deep resonance with your soul. If you had that almost physical body reaction of goosebumps or tingles or expansion of your heart, pay attention to these signs, because it's your soul giving you a sign that yes, look in this direction, there is more here for you. Remember to take regular breaks. This is highly activating information that is very stimulating for the mind and the soul. So take good care of your physical body, hydrate, rest, spend time in nature. And if you're binge watching session after session today, try to stay away from electronics afterwards so that you give your body a little break and allow for the integration. Remember, you will have access to the recording for a week after the summit, so feel free to pause, take a break if needed, and return to the presentation at your convenience. And there'll be an option to purchase the files at a small fee for indefinite use a week after the summit. When you return to my website, the instructions will be there and they'll also be emailed to you. So immediately after the day's streaming, you will receive a link to the replay so you can enjoy that. And please interact with our community here in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. And remember that every speaker will stay behind to answer any questions you may have that are related to their presentation. Some of the speakers pre-recorded because their Wi-Fi wasn't strong enough to hold steady during the streamline. So I think half of the presentations are pre-recorded. So in case you will see the speaker interacting with you while you see them also talking on screen, it's most likely a recording. And I think half of the speakers are going to present to you live. So I'm really excited about today and can't wait to interact with you in the comment section. Enjoy the day. Use the first speaker of day 3 of the Quantum Soul Guidance Summit, Tammy Roth. She'll talk about accessing your astrology chart through the quantum field. Tammy Roth is a psychotherapist and family constellations facilitator who now uses the astrological birth chart and transiting chart to coach and guide clients on their personalized evolutionary path. She also teaches quantum astrology in her year-long cohorts. Tammy's next Quantum Astro School begins in February 2025 and is limited to only 12 people. Visit tammyroth.com to learn more. So in this presentation, Tammy Roth will guide listeners on a journey of how they can begin accessing their chart in deeper and multidimensional ways. She describes how this approach takes the native on an embodied journey of their chart by utilizing the quantum field, creativity, and community to expand the chart beyond a geometrical grid into a multidimensional activational process. You will be able to get a preview to the approach by engaging in an experiential portion of the presentation. This is a pre-recorded presentation, so if you have any questions, Tammy is here live to answer them inside the comment section. Enjoy. Tammy, take it away.
Hi, I'm Tammy Roth, and today I'm going to be talking about experiencing your astrological chart via the quantum field. And also want to just say up front that I'm just at the tail end of a cold, and so my throat is a little scratchy, and hopefully it'll hold up through this presentation. So let me start by sharing my screen. I have a slideshow for us. So yeah, this is going to be about what it's like to experience your astrological chart through the quantum field versus just looking at your chart through your left brain. But to start with, let me tell you a little bit about me. My experience is that I've been a holistic psychotherapist for over 25 years. Also, a person in long-term recovery from addiction and complex trauma. So that has always been a part of the work that I do is working. I really, really love working with people who are recovering from those kind of experiences. And I believe that those of us who have, spent many years numbing out, that the reason for that is that we are some of the most sensitive people on the planet. And this is, a really dense planet, and it, it can be really harsh. And so anyway, that's a big part of my past as far as like who I've worked with. And I have long known that astrology is such a key in the healing process. And the interesting thing is that I tried for years to learn astrology. I would take class after class, I would read the books, and it just wouldn't stick. It just was so interesting how I just could not retain astrology. And it was honestly, it was really frustrating because I knew how important astrology was. But now what I believe is it just wasn't the right time for me to learn astrology. And I believe that's because it was moving into this age of Aquarius. And that I was meant to experience astrology in a different way. And I'll tell you a little bit more about how that came to be just a little bit further into the presentation. So the other thing that feels important is my fundamental belief about astrology is that the natal chart is our soul's blueprint, that we have a guide that shows exactly who we are meant to be without all the conditioning of our culture. And when we really embrace and tap into this blueprint, it gives us permission to just authentically be who we are. And one of the things that I hear the most from clients that I work with is a big exhale. When we go into specific planets and they just, when they embody a planet in the sign, in the house, in their chart, it's just a big exhale, like, oh, finally, yes, that is me. And I believe if we just go through our entire chart, a planet at a time, and really become the living expression of our chart, it is just so remarkable and so dynamic. And I see that as a very unique expression for each and every one of us. And it would just take us out of this conditioned, homogenized culture that we live in. So that's one of the reasons I'm so excited about astrology and about this approach that I'm going to talk about. The other thing that astrology provides us with is an evolutionary schedule, a personalized evolutionary schedule. We can look at what is coming up in the next year, the next 5, 10, 20 years, and we can track exactly what areas of our life are going to be invited into I don't even want to call it challenges, because when you're really working with the evolutionary schedule, you can just view it as these are opportunities for expansion and growth. Will it be challenging? Absolutely, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. If you're working with the transits in a way that you really embrace and understand that it's there for you, that these planets are not, there to work against you, then it can really shift how especially the outer planets, it can really shift your perception of what's happening. And when you're in a collaborative approach with the planets, it can be a really remarkable growth experience. And we have the schedule for it. The transit schedule is, it literally gives us the dates and times. So I just find that really remarkable. So as I mentioned before, I believe that astrology itself is evolving. And I believe that's why this way of doing astrology has come through for me at this time, because we are moving into the age of Aquarius. And so historically, astrology has been taught very much through the left brain. A lot of times it's been a very mechanized, reductionistic approach of, learning signs, houses, planets, learning the symbols. And, if you've had a really good astrology teacher, then there was also the intuitive approach built into it. But by and large, it's been a very left brain approach. And so what has come through to me feels like an evolution of astrology, in that it is a multi-dimensional way of experiencing your personal blueprint. And I'm excited to share that with you. So the way this approach came to me is that as a psychotherapist, I was also doing ancestral healing through an approach called family constellations. And that is, it's very much accessing the quantum field. It is working with energy, and it is operating from the belief that energy never dies, that it stays alive. And if traumatic events don't get acknowledged, they just keep getting passed from generation to generation. And so that's how a lot of patterns, addictions, health issues, that kind of thing keep getting passed on generation after generation. And so I was spending a lot of time in the field working with family constellations. And it was, I was working with an astrologer, and we actually were doing a retreat where she was introducing people to their North and South node, and I was taking them into the field with the energy of their North and South node. I didn't understand astrology at that time. Even though I had tried over and over, I was still in this place of really not understanding astrology. But when we started getting in the field with it, all of a sudden, it just became alive to me. And I was able to understand the language. And an interesting thing is my South Node is conjunct the galactic center. So I've often thought that maybe that was part of it as well, by accessing it in the quantum field, that that I was able to get the galactic download that I hadn't been able to get when I was just trying to learn astrology, more through the left brain approach. So anyway, we were working with North and South Node in the quantum field. It all became very alive. At that point, I started studying astrology again, and suddenly it was making sense. And not only was I studying, but I would get into as I would learn something, I would take my own chart and I would get into the field with it, and I would experience my chart. And so once it just became so alive, so multi-dimensional, I started working with clients in the same way, because it just got to the point that I could not imagine working with a coaching or therapy client without having that blueprint. Because I mean, it just literally feels like trying to take off on a trip across the country and not having a map. So once I was able to understand the language of astrology, it was like, we can't do this without the map of your soul. So it really, really shifted how I work as a therapist and a coach, because I mean, all the information is right there. And then when I take the client into the field with their chart, they access the energy of the planet, of the sign, of the house in their own chart. And that planet, that archetypal energy, speaks to them. And ultimately, the planet becomes the coach rather than me. I am the guide holding the space for the soul's blueprint to do the coaching, which just blows me away, because there are surprises over and over that is just so exciting, because I never know what's going to happen. And the wisdom, the just vast wisdom of these cosmic energies is just remarkable. So I'm just going to take a sip for my throat. So not only do I coach and do therapy sessions this way, but also I am now teaching others to learn astrology in this way. So again, not learning, there is some left brain learning, but ultimately it's about accessing the chart in the field. And also we have an added creative component to it. So we really strengthen the right brain, and learning through the right brain and through the quantum field is what really makes it multidimensional, instead of this left brain linear, more limited approach. So yes, I love working with clients individually, but then also teaching astrology in this new way. And I recently heard the brilliant astrologer Barbara Hand Clow in a podcast, and I went back and I jotted down what she was saying, because it just resonated so much. And I just wanted to read that here. Barbara Hand Clow said, "The sun is the library in our solar system. There we have all the information, all the planetary information, all the asteroid information. And as people develop as astrologers and become more conscious of astrology, they start realizing they have all this information deep inside. And it's coming from our solar sense of self and our sense of information in all the different planets in our reality." So I just love that she was saying that all this information is deep inside of us. And I really believe that is what this quantum approach does, is that we are tapping into it from deep within. and that the entire cosmos live within us. And then when we tap into it in that way, we get access to, this very specific personalized blueprint. So accessing your blueprint through the field. What I've seen are many surprises, as I said before. So one thing is, one of the first things I started noticing is that there have been consistencies occurring through with all the clients that I work with. So there have been patterns and consistencies. And one of the main things is that the planets that have historically been labeled malefic, and that people can tend to be, somewhat afraid of, like Saturn and Pluto, or the sign of Capricorn, that this is just our human projection onto these planets. Because what I've seen very, very consistently is that these planets, Mars, Pluto, Saturn, they are remarkably supportive. They are there for us. They are there to support us. The difference is that it may be more in the energy of a tough love approach. But what I have definitely discovered is that the suffering or struggle on the human part is that only comes from our own resistance to what the planets are guiding us toward. So if you think of the planets as helping us evolve, that's their ultimate goal, is for our own evolution. And they are supporting us in our evolution. And it's when we cling to the past and we don't surrender to where we are headed that the struggle comes into play. So that has definitely been consistent through the clients that I work with, and that's just such an empowering thing to know. There's nothing to fear. The other thing, which I've already alluded to, is just how supportive all of the planets are, but also these, the ones that are considered malefic, they are also there for our support. All of these planets absolutely unanimously want to support us in our evolution. And I just have to believe that the motive of the cosmos supporting us in our evolution is because our evolution affects the evolution of the cosmos. That it's all interconnected. So again, it just becomes very empowering and encouraging. And, when you can just relax and know whatever's happening is absolutely happening for me. And the most important thing I can do is to not resist it and to look for the gift rather than focus on, the loss. So that is some of the surprises. I've also I've had the absolute honor of working with some clients when they are going through big transits, like a Saturn return, or, like Pluto conjunct a North Node, or, something that is really significant. And I've had the gift of working with clients in this way, and we work on a regular, consistent basis, and we go into the chart and we allow these transiting planets to continue to do the coaching. Excuse me. So it's such a remarkable way to utilize the chart. And I just I get so excited just knowing there's something beyond our intellect that wants to guide us. It's truly a spiritual, cosmic approach to living and evolving. So I wanted to share some experiences that these are all clients who have agreed for me to share their stories. And so Liz is someone who was already trained as an astrologer, and then she joined the Quantum Astro School and wanted to experience her chart in this way. And so Liz and I were having a conversation, and she said, because she already had so much knowledge about astrology, sometimes it would be hard for her to let go of like her left brain knowing and really drop into the experience. And so what I did was, you can set up, it's called a blind experience. And so what I did was, I had Liz step in. She didn't know the energy that she was stepping into, but it was traditional astrology. So she begins to access the energy of traditional astrology. And what she reported was a very exciting scene coming into her mind's eye. It was like an amusement park, and there was lots of activity, and there were a lot of people, and it was very exciting. And then, which I thought that was just so on point, so cool. And then I had her shift into another blind energy, which was quantum astrology. And again, she didn't know the energy that she was accessing. Well, when she shifted, she got the visual of being on a dock at a lake, and she was looking into the water and seeing a reflection of herself. She said it was very still and quiet and peaceful, and she could see herself. And so I thought this was so brilliant, because it's not that it's not that one is better than another. They're just very different experiences. And, sometimes it's great to go to the amusement park and to be, to have such a dynamic experience. And then it's also wonderful to be able to go sit at the lake and really just have a quiet, deep reflection. So I was just so grateful that she was willing to let me share that experience, because I just felt like that metaphor just captured it so brilliantly. And then let's move to Kim's experience. So Kim says, the biggest gift for me is discovering that you can ask your planets questions. I do this with guides and ascended masters, but I never thought of asking the planets. They are celestial beings, but till now I had not included them. Knowing they've always been behind the curtain and now having a relationship with them is mind-blowing. It's been about wrapping my head around astrology as a living being system versus a paper dimensional chart. Boom. Yes, boom. So not only I have a visual of Kim's experience, because we had a really fun session. Let me bring that up. So Kim and I were in a session, and we had accessed her galactic chart. And I believe we had gone into, she had a significant placement with the Sirian star system. And so as she began to access the energy of Sirius, this happened on the screen. And what we discovered was that there was a pulsing, there was a communication happening with the rays of light. She could ask a question and it would start pulsing an answer back to her. And we both felt such intense energy flowing through us. And so we had the foresight to do a screenshot, and she said it was okay for me to share that here. But I mean, this is astrology coming alive in the moment. It was just so remarkable. So next I will share, I'm going to take another sip. And I will share Barbara's experience. So Barbara at age 71 is recently retired, and she was not looking to effort and learn the language of astrology. She was, however, very skilled at being in the quantum field through participating in family constellations. So Barbara was she has been kind of a beta test subject because I was curious to see what it would be like to just have her start experiencing her astrology without the intention of learning. And so she began the journey of quantum astrology and now reports, quote, "I've been able to drop into the field easily and to experience meaningful, insightful, and stunning explorations about me and some of the planets, the moon, astrological signs, and transits, and my own birth chart. I am learning so much already and learning so differently than I have usually learned in the past. Experiential learning in the quantum field is always enlightening and transforming and not at all hard or stressful for me." So it's been really fun to watch Barbara just relax into and experience her chart, and it's just coming online for her as she approaches it in this way. All right, so in just a moment, I am going to guide you into an aspect of your own chart. But before that, I wanted to just share that, you know, all of the presenters in the summit, that we have a gift that we want to share with you. And so my gift to you is a Facebook group that you can join. And that might seem like, well, that's not much of a gift. But the reason I wanted to share that is because within that Facebook group, I do a lot of live Zoom groups where we will experience specifically transits when they are happening, and then we'll share them with each other. And it just feels really, really expanded when we come together and do that. So I try to keep it a very active group, and I report on, you know, things that are happening astrologically, but then we have live gatherings. So that's what my gift to you is, to the invitation to become a part of this community where we can gather live together and experience transits as they are happening and experience them in the quantum field. All right, so let's get into the field with an aspect of your own chart. And what we'll do is, if you can just be somewhere quiet, and you can do this with your eyes open or eyes closed, either is fine. And what we're going to do is explore your sun sign, because I feel like most people probably know what sign their sun is in. And if you know what house it's in, even better. Okay, I'm going to cough. Yeah, this cold during a presentation is unfortunate, but I think my voice is holding out, so that's good. All right, so let's start by just having you connect with your breath and just feel your breath coming into your heart center. And with each inhale, feel yourself dropping out of your head and into your heart. And when I say dropping out of your head, just dropping out of what you know about your chart, what you know about astrology, and just drop into your heart and allow yourself to access the wisdom of your heart versus the knowledge in your head. And also just allow yourself to be surprised, because that may happen. So just taking a few more inhales. And then imagine, see in your mind's eye, an archway at your heart center. And this arched doorway is a threshold. And when you cross that threshold, you are crossing into the cosmos that live within you. The infinite cosmic realm lives within you. Just let yourself cross that threshold into this expansive, infinite space. And the quantum nature, holographic nature of this is that within this quantum field, there exists you and another archway at your heart and another threshold into another cosmic realm. And it just keeps going and going because it's infinite. And so just let yourself feel this cosmic realm. And then what I want you to do is to begin to access the energy of your natal sun, your natal sun sign. And you are going to become that sun. You are going to step fully into the energy, the archetypal energy of your sun sign in your chart. And just knowing that your sun sign in your chart, in whatever house it's in, that nobody else has that same sun sign because of just the rest of how your chart is laid out. And all, so no two charts are the same. So just feel the uniqueness of your sun sign and just notice your body. And that's where you can have your eyes open if you want, eyes closed, either way. But just notice how it feels in your body to be this sun sign. And as your natal sun sign, what message do you, as the sun, have for yourself? What message does the sun have for you of how you can shine more brightly, of how you can be fully in your radiance? As the sun, just notice what information is there, what wisdom wants to come through the sun. And then as the sun, just notice what really restores and refuels you, what lights you up as the sun, what ignites the fire, the energy, the solar energy that you radiate, what keeps that alive? What can your person be doing to really stay connected with this solar energy? As the sun, what would you have your person know? And this might might feel a little confusing, but just think of your sun sign is a part of you. So this part of you is speaking to you, is what we're doing here. The sun is an aspect of you. Your sun sign has a message for you, and you're feeling it from the perspective of the sun. And then as the sun, are there any planets close to you? Within a few degrees of you? Are you aware of those planets? Like what might your relationship with these planets be? And that's something you can explore a little more later. And as the sun, as this aspect of you, the sun aspect of you, are there any final messages that you want to convey? Any tips that will just help you shine as bright as possible? And then know that at any time you can come back into the energy of your sun sign, and you can write from this perspective, you can journal from this perspective, you can speak from the perspective of the sun sign. Know that you could always come back into this energy at any time. But for now, let's just have you bring your awareness back. And we will stop there. So thank you so much for being a part of this presentation, and thanks for your patience with my cold, but I think I held out, so that was good. I look forward to hearing any questions that you have, and I hope to see you in the Facebook group. And thank you so much for sharing this time with me. All right.